So, welcome to my masterclass today. I'm going to be talking about how to get in the media without a big budget. Look, I run my own business as well. I know what it's like when budgets are really tight, but you kind of know you need something else. You know you need that support, but you don't have literally thousands of pounds to spend on, an agency retainer or invest that amount of money. So I absolutely get that. Um, it's going to be practical. It's going to be hands-on. I will give you some things that you can do right now today. And I know people who have done it in the past and they've gone off and they have actually secured some media coverage off the back of it. By way of introduction, if we have not met, I am Sara McCracken. I'm a chartered PR. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, which is my professional body. And I've been doing PR for about 25 years now. And I absolutely love it. All aspects of PR, from working with in the healthcare sector, education, environment sector. I've worked for a political party, charities, businesses. So again, a lot of variety from that way. So I can see lots of, different things from different angles, but the basics are the same. It's how we plan our PR, how we reach our audience, how we engage with them, how we know what it is we want to say, and how we then take that action to get the profile raising that we all absolutely need. I've worked a lot with small businesses as well, and I've designed a lot of my services around helping small business because I absolutely believe PR is for everybody. I don't want to gatekeep anything. Like I said, you don't need tens of thousands of pounds in a budget unless you actually have that. But when you're starting out, when you're a small business, you're a charity, and funds are limited, then that is where I come in to try and support you. I'm based in County Down, Northern Ireland. I have my press framework to help people who are not as au fait with PR as I would be, to just go through step by step about what actions they need to take to raise their profile. And again, it's not complicated. You can learn how to do your own PR. It's really easy when you know how. But what I find, oh, spoiling my next slides, it's just about getting that confidence to take that next step. So again, if you haven't already, drop into the chat what is it you do. Feel free to share your links. And is there something in particular that you want to know about getting in the media? You're obviously at this workshop today, this masterclass today about getting in the media. How would that change your business? What is it you want to know about that in particular? What have we got? Oh, a team of two at the National Artistic Society. Yeah, I know all about the small teams, yes, and the small budgets. Happy to have a good chat about that afterwards. I'm sure you're doing a brilliant job. We have some LinkedIn connections there. Press officer, Cool Earth, a climate charity that gives money to Indigenous people. Oh, that's amazing, Celia. Thank you so much. Um, Former journalist, so being a press officer is very new to me. Yeah, I see that. I see that a lot. I also offer a lot of mentoring and one-to-one coaching. So again, happy to sit down and have a chat with anybody about that. And actually, I'm going to talk about my Climate Coalition campaign. So that'll be very relevant to you, hopefully. Copywriter for property and home interior sector. Oh, amazing. Get paid to write about gorgeous houses. Oh, that sounds like a really good job. Which is a calendar of networking events for York and North Yorkshire. Hypnotherapist, amazing. And City of York Scouts social media team. Oh, brilliant. You're going to get loads of PR about that. Here, that's but keep that coming. Anybody else just joining, drop into the chat there. That is fantastic. So, does this sound familiar? And I hear this quite a lot. I just don't know where to start when it comes to speaking to the media. If that's you, type that yes in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. And again, I hear this an awful lot. So you're not alone. And really, it's just maybe it's just understanding where to start or having that confidence. So everything I'm sharing with you today is about getting coverage about you, your product, your service into the media. It's about raising your profile, building that credibility and trust with your customers, or obviously if you're a charity with your charity stakeholders. I mean, donors are really important. Your service users are really important. So again, it's just thinking about who we want to speak with through the media. So again, it's never too early to do PR for your business, and PR is for everybody, large or small. I do see a lot of people say, "Oh, it's maybe just for big organizations." Who am I to be telling my story? But small businesses are absolutely brilliant. Those charities, small charities, you have so many stories to tell, and that is just what I love, particularly about media work. What you really need is a plan and the right approach. to help you just frame everything that you need to be doing. And that just then helps break things down step by step about how you can just, figure out what assets you need or what stories you need to tell or what your messaging is going to be, and just go step by step through the process to get that media coverage. A lot of people jump straight to, oh, I need a press release, which you do. But my first question is, what's the story? What's it about? Why do you need a press release? Are there other things that we could be doing with that story to try and get you better coverage? So, very, very briefly, if you're new to PR, what actually is it? Is it just sending out press releases? Yeah, media relations is a huge part of my work. I love it. I am in the middle of a campaign at the minute for a client, and I'm taking calls from journalists this morning. I'm trying to sort out spokespeople. Absolutely love it. But there's a wee bit more to it than that. But very briefly, marketing is about making an audience aware of your brand, products, and services. It's on the same vein as PR. It's about selling your products. It drives sales. Closely linked to that, then obviously, is advertising. It's bringing attention to your products and services. You're going to pay for that space. PR is about your reputation. It's about cultivating relationships between brands, your brand, and your audience organically. So it is not paid for. It's building your reputation and trust with your target audience. And, think about when you're looking for a product or service. Think about your potential customer searching for you online. If they find a really great media article featuring you, or maybe it's a product placement in a magazine, that's creating credibility in their mind even before you've spoken to them. So that is where PR can come in to help you with that profile raising. There's all these different ways that you can show up publicly, all different places where a potential customer, a journalist, maybe a potential business partner might come across you, or a funder if you're a charity, a potential supporter. Each one of these is a credibility marker, and they all add up. And again, say your customer sees you on socials, and oh, maybe they've seen you in that local paper next week, and then they've heard you on a podcast. That's all adding up, and they're starting then to talk about you when you're not in the room. When they do that Google search on you, think, oh yes, I heard them. I read about them in the magazine last week. It's creating that perception. So PR is taking control of what they say about you. As Oprah says, in the end, all you have as your reputation. We could have an entire lunch and learn about people dissing their reputations online, and seeing their businesses collapse, or those scandals that we all see. But that's a whole other lunch and learn. But the thing is, your reputation is being built every single day. So whether you're actively managing or not, people are building perceptions of you. So the question is, are you the one telling your story, or are you leaving it to chance? So I'm going to cover over the next sort of 40 minutes or so actionable steps you can take right now. I'm going to tell you about how you can work with me, and some Q&A questions, and nothing is off limits. And like I said, I can turn the camera off, or turn the recording off then, for anybody who's here on the call today, and we can have a really good chat about that. So you're in the right place if you don't know where to start when it comes to your PR. You worry about what other people are going to think about you. Maybe you see other businesses out there and think, oh, that should be me. I do that quite a lot, I'm not going to lie. And you want a tried and tested framework to follow. Like I said, I am not here to gatekeep anything. I just want to make sure that you have the skills and knowledge that you need, whether you're in a comms team, maybe you're new to the PR profession, or you're small businesses. I want you to succeed. You might also be thinking you're a wee bit invisible in your industry, or maybe your charity or business. It just doesn't have the profile. You've got competitors out there. How do you get ahead of them? You're good at what you do. I'm quite sure you're brilliant, but nobody really seems to notice. And maybe you're juggling all the things and need some expert support. That is key, particularly in a small team, particularly if you're like an entrepreneur in a very small business. Like, clearly accounting is not my strength. So I have that expert accountant in to help me with my bookkeeping. And again, if you want that simple, strategic way to get your product, business, or service noticed, you're absolutely in the right place today. So again, I've spoken with hundreds of people over the years, and here's why they're failing to get in the media. And a lot of it is they just don't know how to get started, so they don't take any action at all. That's really, really common. And like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years. I think everybody knows this, but apparently no. So again, I can help you get started. I find as well a lot of organizations, they jump in without a strategy. It's quite scattergun in terms of just doing stuff. Oh, we'll do a press release. Oh, we'll do some socials. Oh, we'll do this, but nothing's really connected. So it leads to very little outcome. And I put big businesses in this category as well. You would be surprised at the number of large organizations who don't have a PR plan or a crisis comms plan, and they're just hoping for the best. Again, if your comms approach isn't aligned to business planning, comms has to support what it is that you want to achieve as a business. So it's got to be aligned. Otherwise, what's the point? You're going to waste all your time and effort. And again, I find a lot of people have lacked that structured approach to raising their profile and getting visible. I'm all about the planning. And once you have that as that foundational piece, everything else flows from that a whole lot easier. And then there's less overwhelm, and then you can actually get started. Again, I see a lot of people as well missing opportunities to get in the media. Again, it's just because they just don't know what to do, or they've seen a piece. It's like, oh, should I actually phone that journalist? Yes, you should. Oh, how do I write a pitch? Well, we can take care of that. It's just really thinking of those ideas and just know what you need to do to get started. And again, so the upshot of all of this is the people I've been speaking to, they just think they've failed, but they haven't failed. It's just they lack that structured approach to raising their profile, and they've just missed those opportunities because they just don't know what to look for. So, I mean, I don't know if that sounds familiar to you or not, but the good news is that these things are all really easily fixable, and that's what today's session is all about. So I'm going to cover these three things next. What's stopping you from getting in the media, what's missing when it comes to getting in the media, and actions you can take right now to get into the media. So start at the start, what is stopping you? So again, I'm going to run through 6 areas here. Maybe they'll resonate with you. Let me know in the chat if they do, or if you're not that brave, drop them down, drop them down in your notebook. So I don't know where to start. Really, really common. How does the media work? Where do I even begin? If that's you, write down a number 1. Are you just feeling stuck at square one? And again, I've worked with the media for the last 25 years, so I have that understanding of how it works better. And again, ask me questions on it later. That is why I'm here to help you try and sort that out. If you feel like you're making it up as you go along, you're not alone in that either. Again, that's back to that scattergun approach. No real results, because again, you're just spaghetti to the wall. You're just throwing stuff out there and hoping for the best. But again, if you're planned and you're consistent, you can build up relationships with journalists over time, and they will get to know you, and they will get to know that you're providing really good content, really good stories, and they're going to be thinking of you in future. Then, when a particular angle or story comes up, or when you send them something, they're going to feel, oh yes, I know that person. Yes, they send me really good stuff. I'll take a look at it. Taking action can feel really overwhelming. What have I got to say? Who am I to be speaking to the journalist? Why would a journalist want to listen to me? And this is what I particularly love about working with small businesses. It's understanding your founder story, what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to help. So many brilliant stories in there. And again, we can look at a local press angle. It's not everything's going on to BBC Newsnight. It's just looking at what is right for your business at a particular moment in time in terms of who you're trying to communicate with. This is another common one as well in terms of I don't want to look like I'm showing off. I have saying like toot your own horn, everybody. I know there can be a real fear of judgment. A lot of people, who does she think she is talking about that? But again, you've got to show off. If you don't show off, nobody else is going to show off on your behalf. And if you think about it, this is about doing PR, doing communications to sell your products, business and services. That's what it's about. We're all business owners. We all need to make some money to pay our mortgages. So absolutely show off your successes. Have you won an award? Have you got 10 new clients? Have you helped 1,000 young people with autism? Have you secured £1 million in funding? Let's show off those really great wins, even the really small wins. Tell people about it. That is going to build your credibility as well. I'll show off for you, so don't worry about that. You might sort of just feel a wee bit sick at the thought of speaking to a journalist. Again, I don't look how I sound and look. I hear that an awful lot. Nobody likes how they look and sound. If you want to see some of my TikToks and my Instagram reels, like I've stuck a cap on my head because my hair hasn't been washed for 3 days. That's absolutely fine, but it's about what you're trying to convey to people, it's your messaging, it's just making sure that you're getting your key points along. And, at the end of the day, people they think you're great for doing these things. They're not well, they shouldn't be judging your hair, but you know what I mean. It's just making sure you're comfortable in doing it, even for a 30-second Instagram story. Again, people are going to be grateful for hearing your message if it's a service that they need to buy into. So again, really, really common. I can help you get over that. They don't know any journalist bit. Easily rectified. They're so easy to track down. Again, you might need to spend a wee bit of time doing a bit of desk-based research into your publications that you want to be in, what type of stories journalists are covering. And then it's just a case of pitching them. But again, I have all the tools and templates for that available to my clients that I work with. So I've been going on. Oh, there's stuff in the chat. Let me have a quick look. We've got, loads of stuff there. Oh, lots of questions for later as well. New business direction and looking ideas of how to promote yourself locally. Absolutely, 100%. A lot of this. Oh, here's another biggie. I don't have time for all of this. The juggle is real. I get that. My to-do list for today is I don't even want to tell you how long it is. And then something comes in and I'm trying to sort out spokespeople for a BBC piece tomorrow and everything else has to go by the wayside. The juggle is absolutely real. I get that. But what I would say to you is I know PR then can slip to the bottom because you're so busy firefighting. It's about, again, taking that step back, having maybe a few hours just to carve out a bit of a PR plan and just making sure that you have something to follow. So you're not getting to, oh, maybe I'll try that or maybe I'll try that. It's just getting that consistency of approach and putting in some key points that you can say, right, so this is happening in this day, and in advance of that, I need to do a press release and I need to send out on this day. And it just gets a wee bit more structured. And once you know what you're doing and when, it really helps with that overwhelming feeling that you don't have time for all of this. And this is actually why I now offer direct support with business owners, business leaders, charity leaders. So we take action together. So again, you're not trying to find hours you don't have. You have direct access for me to me in terms of, oh, what should I do next? And it just makes things a whole lot easier. Anyway, the outcome of all these things and these feelings that we all have is that you don't take any action at all. No profile or visibility in the media or online. Nobody will know about you, and you're going to lose sales to your customers because they're doing all the things. They're maybe not even doing all the things. They might be doing one thing, but you're not doing anything. So again, they're going to be ahead in terms of that visibility piece. But you're all here today, and we're going to sort it out, so it's all fine. It's all good. So just want to check in, is any of this resonating so far? Again, do you just need a plan? Do you feel like you need some support? I know there's questions coming in already, which is absolutely fantastic. Again, don't want to commit you to anything, but just let me know how you're feeling. We've got some yeses. That's okay. I'm on the right tracks. That's a really good sign as well. And that's brilliant. And again, if there's something specific you want to know, ask me later. I'll get you information on that. So again, if you're going to hang out with me, whether through these lunch and learns, through these master classes, maybe through some training, you're going to learn, the best way to pitch to the press to secure media coverage. Again, it's about learning what the press wants and building your credibility. And again, what I teach other people, what I do to support you, it's exactly what I do with other clients to get results. It's just been based on all my experience. It's about doing the basics really, really well without getting overwhelmed. And again, understanding the media is a key part of that. Preparing your press releases and pitches. There's a lot of P's in that sentences. I might need to rewrite it. But again, it's that tried and tested approach and the best structure to use. Now, you can pull up your favorite AI tool and you can say, write me a press release, and it will write you a press release. And it's not going to be very good. You should probably use a different word there, but I'm not. It's not going to be very good. Let's leave it at that. I have been presented with a lot of content in the last number of months. It's been clearly written by AI. And again, it's waffly, it's wordy, it's jargony, it's obvious. And I know journalists are ignoring it. They don't want AI written content. Now, I love AI. I use it a lot. I use it for ideation. I do use it for headlines, things like I do use it a lot. But what I would say is you need to understand what good looks like in terms of press release and a pitch so that when you do use your trusted AI friend, you know what good looks like when it comes out the other. And I did some work with a client last week looking at some of their press releases. And again, there's a lot of stuff we could take right out because it was repetitive and all the rest of it. So now they know what good looks like. They can do what they like in terms of AI, but again, they've got a template to fall back on. So that's all I'm going to say in AI. Although I do have a free download for AI prompts. Anyway, I also want to help you build your confidence without burning out. Again, it's that preparation and practice. It's about shining in your interviews, and it's just that feeling of overwhelm. You've got the 25 things to your to-do list. You haven't got enough time. You're going blah, 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 blah. It's about being consistent. So again, it's like social media. So three posts every week is better than 10 posts in 1 week and nothing for 3 months. You know, it's just getting that consistent approach. Maybe carving out sort of 15 minutes a day to do your PR or half an hour a week, but whatever it is, it's just that consistency. And we don't want to be burning out. Making PR work on your terms is really, really important. So again, this is where my press framework comes in. It's a structured sort of 5-stage approach just to remove overwhelm and to get results. It's a repeatable system. And again, it's a process I use on a daily basis with clients. And it's about planning your PR, reaching your target audience, engaging with them, telling your story, and just then shining all the tactical bits that you need to do then to bring it all to life. Another thing I hear an awful lot is that, Sarah, I'm not ready. I've only just started my business. We're only a small team. Oh, I don't have a budget. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But it's never too early to do PR for your business. The earlier you start, the better. You know, particularly if you say you're launching. Well, there's your story right there. Why are you launching? Who are you launching to? Who do you hope to help? There's a story in that. Let me show you with a few wee examples here. I've got one example here. You know, we have the fabulous Tony. He was part of my press community, but you know, he was just starting out on his own. He knew he needed to raise his profile, so his reputation could grow in the industry. So he reached out. You know, we had some weekly coaching calls. He secured speaking gigs. He's won an award. It's brilliant. His social media presence has improved. So again, we've had those weekly accountability calls. He's been able to take action and he's absolutely fine. He's doing a webinar right now as well. So I hope that is going well for him as well. I've heard this a lot as well. You know, I've tried PR before and it didn't work. So that generally means one of three things. You know, there's been no plan. I'm all about the plan. Maybe the message hasn't been quite right, or maybe it's not been clear. And again, maybe there's not been enough consistency. You know, one press release isn't a PR plan. It's just throwing something out into the ether. But these things are not reason to stop. They're just a reason just to maybe regroup and start to do it slightly differently. And again, that's where I come in to help my clients. So all three of these, no plan, wrong message, not enough consistency, exactly what we can fix together if we're working together. And again, the very fabulous Denise. I've known Denise for a few years now. She is the most amazing career coach. Again, she was in the I've done PR before, it doesn't work camp. So again, we've gone through things together. We have looked at her planning, we have looked at what she's sending out, and she's taken a much more structured approach now. To her newsletters, she's been doing her webinars. You know, so it's all happening. It's all starting to come together with that consistency of approach. So what is missing when it comes to getting in the media? So this is where it starts to get interesting, you know, because when I ask people why they're not getting the media, they start to blame themselves. You know, they think they're maybe not interesting enough or not well known enough, but that's almost never the real reason. I mean, I am in the middle of placing spokespeople for the BBC tomorrow morning. One is a mum that lives up the road. So she's not well known, but she has exactly what this story needs in terms of the content. So again, that's not a reason. Again, the three things are generally there's no plan, not clear on what you're saying, or maybe just that lack of confidence to take action. So I'll just go through them one by one now. And you know, again, let me know what's resonating with you. Is there anything particular that you want to talk about later? So No plan in place. This is in the P for plan section of my press framework. Fail to plan, plan to fail. You've all heard about that. You without a plan, nobody will know about you. Your competitors who do have a plan will be getting the visibility that should be yours. And in any session I run, this comes as standard. This is where I start with everybody. Again, it's just even a plan for the next 3 months or the next 6 months. It's not like for the next 5 years or anything like that. It's just getting that structure in place so that you know what you're doing. It's about mapping out your visibility goals, creating a personalized PR roadmap. Again, really, really important just to start at the beginning. The missing thing number two is people not being clear on what they're saying. If your message is a bit fuzzy, no one will hear you. And what I mean by that is think about when you're scrolling on social media and you're just flicking through and does it catch your attention? Or what drives me nuts are the content creators who have a great big long preamble before they get to the point. I scroll on past those. So again, clear on what you're saying, nobody will hear you. If it's not clear what you do, your customers won't know why they should choose you. And again, think about that when it comes to approaching journalists as well. If you sent a huge, great, big, long email to them and the bit you actually want to say is buried at the bottom, they're not going to read it. They're going to skim the first couple of lines and want to know what it is you're doing, the who, where, why, what, when, and how. They're going to want to read that and know, is it relevant to them? Is it relevant to their readers? Have you piqued their interest to get a wee bit more? So again, this is back to structure and being clear on what you're actually trying to say. So again, in the engaged part of my press framework, it's about building your message so you can pitch with clarity. Journalists and audiences need to understand exactly who you are. And again, this is the framework I use with my other clients as well. Lack of confidence to take action. Again, I do see this a lot, like I've already said, and you all know what you should be doing, but again, the thought of it is just that, what will people say? What does my hair look like? I don't like how I sound. I'm not good enough. But if not you, then who? Your customers need to hear from you. Your story matters. And shining is what it's all about. And again, I just love this bit. I just love it getting an email in and somebody saying, oh, I did this today and this is the result. And it's like, yes, they've taken that step forward. It's all about taking action. Even if it's a 10-second story on Instagram, that is taking action. Maybe it's just putting together your first press release or your 10th press release, that is taking action. You just have to get on and do it. And then you have to tell everybody and toot your own horn and celebrate your success. Anyway, why am I telling you all of this? Basically, I want to help you succeed. I have seen what happens when people get visible. They get new clients, they get speaking opportunities, your media coverage starts to build in itself, and just that confidence that comes from knowing that you're being heard. I want that for every single person on this call and everybody watching this back on the replay. And again, I am not here to gatekeep. PR is for everybody. You don't need a huge agency retainer budget. If you have the budgets, I can certainly recommend you some really great agencies if you want to build your campaign that way. But again, when you're starting out, when you're a small team, no budgets, low budgets, I can help you with that. I just need you to follow the step-by-step process, which you can do all by yourselves. So anyway, have you ever thought any of these as well? What if I mess up? This is the next bit when it comes to me. Oh, what if I mess up? What do people laugh at me again? Well, maybe my hair's not right. What if they think I'm showing off? What if no one wants to hear what I want to say? What if? And these thoughts are completely normal. Every single person who has got media coverage has had at least one of these thoughts. I've probably had all of them at some point in my career. I can tell you some really interesting stories about the time I've gone on the radio and the questions I've been asked, but you're still there and you're doing it. That's the important bit. It's just that stepping up to do it anyway. So what if we work together? What if we flip those what ifs? So what if we work together to get a PR plan in place to get really clear on what you're saying and just took that action to get you in the media? What if somebody needed to hear what you have to say? So if you're an autism charity working with young people, those young people need to hear about you so they can access your services. What if you sent out that press? What if you sent out that press release to announce your new business and you got coverage in a local paper and your customers started to hear about you? What if you inspired someone to take action? What if you did that media interview? What if? So take all those negative what ifs, write them down in your notebooks, and then turn them into something more positive. these things happen. They happen to the people I work with all the time. They can happen to you as well. So actions you can take right now to get in the media. Again, it's a starting point. It's part of a bigger system. Um, but again, the difference between someone who does these things once and someone who builds that lasting visibility is the structure, accountability, and support, which we can talk about a bit more later on. So we need to solve these, all that, oh, I'm making it up as we go along. Yeah, I don't know where to start. You know where to start now. It's great. You don't want to show off. You're going to start showing off. It feels overwhelming. Let me help you break that down. I don't have time for this. We're going to get a plan. You feel sick at the thought of it. Like everybody feels sick, but reframe that as excitement. If you're in Northern Ireland, it's called the dry book. It's common to everybody. But again, we can address every single one of these. You can sit and work with your team on it. You and I could sit down together, for a morning or an afternoon. Again, these things are easily solvable. What journalists are actually looking for. So this is point number one, and this is what most people get wrong. Journalists want a clear angle that matters to their audience, not your business. PR is not free advertising. A lot of the journalists I work with are about the news cycle, so they're looking for a news related story. Now, there's other options out there. There are feature writers. I've hopefully got a feature landing this week. There are obviously journalists that host podcasts. There are product journalists as well in the magazines, but they want something that matters to their audience, not your business directly. This is where you need to be a bit clever. They want that story that explains why now, not just what you do. So why is what you do important? How many people have you helped? They want that real person experience. They want your informed opinion, and they want clarity and relevance, not a load of waffle, to put it mildly. In terms of what gets ignored, generic announcements, promotional pitches, again, they're not there to sell your product, business, or service. They're there to create interesting content for their readers. They don't want marketing copy, and they don't want anything that's obviously been written by AI. So have a wee think. What idea or story do you have that a journalist might want? If you're feeling brave, drop it in the chat for me, or drop it into your notebook, and we can pick up on that. I've a code coming later. We can have a 15-minute tea and chat about any of this. But again, what angle have you got? And in terms of that angle that matters to their audience. So if you are a brand, for example, that is making bespoke dog collars, I always come back to a dog example. Anyway, you're going to want to be targeting Dogs Today magazine. You're not going to want to be targeting the environment correspondent at the BBC. So again, understand the journalist, their audience, and what they write about. If you have maybe you've got some investment coming into your business, that is maybe going to be more for the business correspondents. And again, at a local paper level, you're not going to have those specialists. You're going to have some more general news journalists. But again, we still need to think about the local angle as well. There's no point, for example, in me, based in County Down, Northern Ireland, doing a piece about me for the Northwest Journal, which is 100 miles from my house, for example. So again, just have a wee think about that as well. Now, turning what you do into media-friendly story ideas. So in this slide, you have got an idea or story about a journalist might want. I see some coming into the chat, so we're going to talk about those later. Brilliant. How do you turn that into a media-friendly story? So again, your experience, your opinions, and client work are often the story. Everyday challenges can be really strong angles, that triumph over tragedy, or, the young person who's achieved something. Think about those sort of story angles. Journalists are really interested in insight, not perfection. So again, you don't need to spend 3 hours crafting your perfect pitch. You get your ideas together. You pick up the phone to them, going, if you've got a relationship, going, are you interested in this? Send them a quick pitch and say, look, this is in the media today. I can add to the discussion because I'm an expert in X, Y, and Z. Are you interested in having a conversation? So again, it's taking action is the key here. You don't need to invent stories, you just need to recognize them. And again, this is what I absolutely love about working with small business owners. There's so many stories right there. I'm spending most of my time going, oh my God, that's amazing. I can't believe that. That's such a brilliant product or service or whatever it happens to be. Just love it. So Just to reiterate, you have a newsworthy story to tell. We just need to find it. So again, write down three things that have happened in your business, maybe in the last week or the last month. Have you won an award? Have you helped 10 young people to achieve something? Have you helped your client do something? Again, we're not going straight to the media with these. This is just about learning how to recognize the story and the potential there. Maybe you've an event coming up. Maybe you've been at a networking event. Maybe you've spoken somewhere. I don't know. You tell me. Lots going on in the chat here, which is brilliant. Going to come back to that later. So you got your three things that happen in your business, all potential stories right there. And start to follow through then with your PR. So again, this is about taking action. You've thought about what's happening in your business. You've got, some story ideas. We need to take some action. So again, stop overthinking what to say. Take that piece of action. Stop second guessing yourself. PR is for everybody. Media needs to hear about your product, business, or service. And again, it's really hard to say, don't stay stuck on social media. I might get that on a t-shirt or a mug. Go beyond it. So again, social media is great. Like I remember the days when I used to push Avon catalogs through doors. So now you can access your audience online for free effectively. But again, think of the algorithm. It starts to show you what it thinks you want to see. So how you get out of that bubble in terms of content, well, PR will really, really help with that. Because again, when somebody reads about you, hears about you in the local paper, or sees you on a stage, or hears you on a podcast, which are all part of your tactics, they're then going to drive to your socials. They might not have heard about you before through social media. So again, I love a bit of social media. It is a really important tactic in your PR toolkit, but this is about going beyond it. So don't just stay stuck on social media. And again, momentum's really important as well. Do you know, taking out one piece of action today, maybe writing a pitch about one of the ideas you've just had and getting that out there, what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, really, what is the worst? It's not going to go anywhere. So what? You'll have another idea in 2 days' time and you're going to pitch that then as well. So let's not overthink it or start second guessing yourself. Take that next step. Take that next step. Take your third next step. And before you know it, you'll have achieved so much. The people getting media coverage, they're not better than you. They've just taken some action. So is there a PR action that you have been putting off? Type it in the chat. If you're feeling brave, or DM me behind the scenes, that's okay as well. Do you know, is there one thing that's, oh, I just would love to do it. Where do I start? What do I do? Let me know what it is, and then we can address that in the Q&A. But again, I want you to think about these people who are in the media. They're just taking that action. They're being a bit more consistent. They're not better than you. And every week it's about just showing up. Every week that you make progress, every step you take, you make progress. That is how your visibility starts to compound. Like I said, I've been using this approach for years, so I know it works. I last year I worked for the Climate Coalition. My goal was to take Great Big Green Week and make it mainstream. This is in 2025. It was to get it from something that people vaguely knew about into proper national coverage. And again, I did exactly what I've told you to do. I sat down, we had our goal linked to the business plan. I created a plan. Again, I had the KPIs in there, we had the messaging in there, we knew who our target audience was. But my approach was I had to identify the right journalists, I had to engage with them, and I had to pitch them. So exactly what I've been suggesting that you do today. Again, these were journalists that I didn't have a relationship with, so I had to go and start building that relationship. Encourage where to find journalists, by the way. You find a lot of them on LinkedIn. So again, it's about messaging, it's about being polite, it's just trying to find their contact details. And then we started to tell the story of those people who were taking part. So again, Great Big Green Week is the UK's largest celebration of nature and climate. The goal was to have 1 million people taking part. So it was quite a tall order. And again, it's getting out of niche publications into mainstream was really, really key. Anyway, here are the results. We ended up with a media reach in excess of 64 million. We had 510 news articles right across the UK, 14 ITV segments, which was brilliant, and 32 radio broadcasts. So that's absolutely huge. But you're saying, oh, it's a big organization, all the budget. No. We had a very small budget. It was me working 3 days a week on a contract. for this organization. They're a fantastic client. But again, it was about having that plan. It was about knowing who we wanted to talk to. It was engaging with the right journalists, and it was creating the content and the assets that they actually needed for their audience. And I ended up with coverage in Horse and Hound, which you wouldn't expect. We had a piece in Women's Weekly, which was brilliant, and we had as well a piece in the Waitrose Weekend magazine. So again, reaching out to those different types of organisations. Spoiler alert, they invited me back for this year. The stats are even better for this year. But anyway, 2025 campaign, I'm so chuffed with this. I won a CIPR Excellence Award off the back of it, which is like the best you can get in my industry. So that was us celebrating it in London the other week. There's a lot of dancing after that, I'm not going to lie. But again, it's about exceeding expectations. It's about having that plan, working through the process, the press framework that I have told you about. And these were the results that we gained. Small budget, small team, consistent, basic, good, proper PR. So PR does tend to slip down the list for a lot of people. Again, it's about not knowing why it's important, no accountability or follow through. I find working with a lot of clients is the accountability that they actually like. And again, it becomes something you'll get around to. So meanwhile, your customers don't hear about you, the media doesn't know you exist, and the opportunities go to somebody else. So this is why I've created my package. I'm going to tell you about it now, and then we're going to come to our Q&A. And it's about giving you a structure, knowledge, and accountability. So PR stops being the thing, well, I'll get around to it someday, and starts being something that you can actually do. And again, you can do all of this yourself. Absolutely no problem. I am always here for a tea and chat if you've got any questions, but equally, if you need that sort of support, then I can offer that as well. So the Invisible to Influential package, it's about supporting you to take a hands-on approach to PR. It's done with you. So again, it's mentoring, done with you, built around your business, your story, your goals, starting ideally with creating the PR plan. Maybe you have one already, brilliant. But again, that is so fundamental. So even if all we ever did was work together to get your plan in place and you were happy to live it yourself, that is absolutely fine. Or then if you want more accountability, then we can do that as well. Again, it's not a course that you're going to sit through alone. It's not a training program to upsell you to anything else. It's just about providing structure, feedback, encouragement, designed for you on your term, on your terms, just to make sure you can get that visibility. So again, it's back to that feeling of overwhelm and not knowing where to start. 3 hours with me, we'll have you absolutely flying. Again, this is just my press framework that I've already talked about, but just in terms of what we could potentially do if we were ever to work together. Planning is about defining your version of visibility, mapping out your PR goals for your business, and creating your personalized PR plan, your press roadmap. Again, you don't then have to guess where to start. You know exactly where we're going to be starting. You know what you're going to be doing maybe over the next 60 to 90 days, and that just will reduce that overwhelm for you. Or maybe you want to know understand your audiences better and how to reach them. So again, audiences are really, really key for me. General public is not your whole audience. Please just take that away from this webinar. The whole world is not your audience. General public is not your audience. It's about getting really clear on that. Climate Coalition campaign, we were really clear who we needed to speak to, just in terms of the audience, and that is where we focus then our efforts. I want to help you learn how to reach your audience and again, create that content that resonates with your audience. What is the story? What is the why? Why should they, hear about you? Building relationships with media clients and followers is really, really important as well. It's how you show up on purpose. It's how you find the journalists, get to know them. Is it a tea and chat? Do you need to go and buy them a coffee? Where do you even find them? It's about nurturing your audience as well. It's about engaging as well. I've had a lot of conversations about your mailing list. How do you nurture your audience through your mailing list, for example? Again, that's all part of your PR tactics. And again, just a wee side note on the social media. I had a thing on Instagram last week. Apparently, I had restrictions put on my account and I wasn't allowed to share links. I don't really share links on Instagram. I mean, you can't share links on Instagram, except like in the stories. I think you're doing some trial ones, but it was just really, really weird. But if your socials go down overnight, how are you going to talk to your audience? If you've got a mailing list, they're there. If you're doing PR, you can keep your profile quite high and you can go that route as well. So I'll just leave you with that wee thought. Do have a bit of storytelling. I have a whole lunch and learn storytelling, which I must get up and running again. But again, it's refining your key messages, building your story bank and your media toolkit. You've already got hopefully three or four written down from today anyway. So again, how do we bring that to life? How do we share your story with confidence? Talking to a client the other week, they're launching a thing. I've looked at the press release. So my first question is, how are you going to bring that to life? What is the why? What is the need for this? How are you going to tell that story? And again, when you have your story, it's about sharing it consistently across every platform. So you've got your PR, your media approach, you've got your e-newsletters, you've got your blogs, you've got your social media. How do you just bring it all together? Because they all complement each other. Bit of shining, stepping into the spotlight. Again, see when I get an email when someone's just got a feature or a media interview lined up, I'm literally doing a happy dance. Again, it's about helping you stay visible and credible and leading with authority to sustain your visibility long term. Again, don't need anybody burning out. It's about being consistent. And that's just where everything then starts to come together. So if you feel, any of these, don't know where to start, you want to help your customers, is it time you showed off how good you are? Absolutely. If you're maybe hopefully feeling a wee bit less sick at the thought of it now, taking action, I hope it feels within reach, then again, let's have a conversation about that. Again, I've got tea and chats available, absolutely free of charge. We can talk about it a bit more. But again, if you just want that dedicated one-to-one support and accountability, and if you're in a team, I do offer team training as well. If you're in a comms team or if you're needing to develop some of your colleagues. So it's my little AI caricature. Again, it's about working with me one-to-one. Your first session builds your PR plan, unless you already have one, in which case we'll review it. Then every session after that is yours to use. It's coaching, working through the framework, keeping you accountable, and then access to me in between our sessions through email, or a quick Zoom call if that's what you needed. Again, it's just helping you get started, getting that plan in place, stop second guessing. You've got so many good things to say. I know you do. And just shining as the experts that you already are. So this is just a bit more. I'll send this out afterwards as well. But again, first session is all about building your PR plan or reviewing what you've got. You can then use the time however you would like. I absolutely love mentoring and coaching. Again, it's working through part of your plan. It could be helping you prepare a speech or a presentation. Again, pitch ready. I've got all the assets and templates you could ever want in your life based on all my experience. I share those very freely with my clients. And again, just a structure that keeps you moving forward session by session. I'm saying session by session. There's no contract with this. There's no ongoing risk. If we have one session and you're done, that's absolutely fine. If you need three more, that's absolutely fine as well. And again, just in terms of some successes my clients have had, so this is the lovely Helen. She runs a first aid training company. So if you need first aid training, she is the woman you need to know. She did a pitch into her local BBC radio station and ended up on the radio. So she's got a really good route in there. She's also done some local media work as well, as this clip shows. And again, in terms of angles for her, we've talked about things like, Burns Awareness Day, Halloween, allergies around Easter eggs. She's got so many opportunities to tell the story about how she can help her clients. We have the fabulous Gail, who off the back of actually one of these webinars went out and pitched. She's ended up with speaking gigs. She is now running a podcast. She is a columnist in a magazine. And again, she took some action off the back of one of these free masterclasses. So absolutely brilliant. She is flying. And again, I just love these emails. This landed in my inbox from one of my clients, just going, oh my God, I did it. He had written a pitch to a journalist. And again, he wasn't concerned if it was going to land or not. It was the fact that he'd actually done it for the first time ever is what really made his day and my day. I did a wee happy dance with that one. So again, a little bit more about what's involved, and then we're going to move on to our Q&A. So again, 3 hours of mentoring one-to-one with me every month, email support between sessions, so you're not going to be stuck. Again, that plan is there for accountability, and so we know what we're doing on a day-by-day basis or a week-by-week basis, reducing the burnout. Loads of practical guidance on finding your story, approaching the media. If I have the contacts, I will give them to you, absolutely not a problem. And just ensuring that you have the confidence to show up, speak up and be seen, whether it's in socials, whether it's standing on a stage, whether it's going into a podcast. Don't mind telling you, the first time I ever did a podcast, I had so many notes on my screen. I prepped for hours for it. Now I can do them standing on my head if it's about PR, not a problem. But again, we all prepare, we all practice. The cost is £495 per session, which it's a good half-day session. This is online. I can do in person as well. I'm over in England quite a lot, or we can meet up somewhere more locally. But again, online or in person, we can discuss that. Like I said, there's no contract, and there's no risk. You can have one session and that's it, or we can do 10, or we can do 3. It's whatever really works for you, and everybody's different. So things to think about in terms of PR before we move into our Q&A. PR takes time to build momentum. So I am not going to sit here and say, yeah, I can get you in the papers next week. Maybe I can if you have a good story. But what I want you to think about is how you're going to take this for the medium to long term. How are you consistently going to raise your profile to get that credibility? So coverage is a credibility. Credibility leads to more coverage. It's compounding. And again, one press release is not a strategy. This is where your consistency comes in. You need that structured, consistent visibility work. And again, that's what separates you from your competitors if you're taking those actions. And again, we all need to invest in our businesses for expert guidance. Like my investment is in my accountant. She's just absolutely brilliant. And again, even if we do a plan together and that's our only session, that's yours. You can work away on that over the years and months, or the months and years to come. So just in terms of cost wise, 6-week PR courses can be from £2,000. If you want me to write a press release, I'm going to charge you an awful lot more than that. And half-day training for your team will start at sort of £950 and go upwards from there. So again, invisible to influential is one-to-one support direct with you, but it's built around you, so it's not as part of a group session. Again, I don't want to teach you something for 6 weeks and then upsell you to something else. That just doesn't work for me in terms of business model. I want to build something brilliant with you for the long term, if that makes sense. So Q&A is nearly with us. I'd be interested in your thoughts and your stories and your actions that you're going to take off the back of this. But book a call with me to discuss this if you would like, or if you have any other questions that you're not comfortable asking in public on this webinar. They're 15-minute tea and chats. So there's some options in there for you, and that link is updated fairly regularly. So again, if there's nothing next week, I know there are slots next week, but if that didn't suit you, the other slots get added in. Or if you want to know a wee bit more about Invisible to Influence, that's the other QR code there as well. And then in terms of, we've got another, this was Gail again, leaving me a review, which was very kind of her. So these are all on my Google business page, or there's a load of testimonials on my LinkedIn. Please go and check those out as well. Again, credibility testimonials can be part of your PR strategy as well. And again, this is feedback from another client. We did the PR planning session that I've talked about. So again, they now have something to work on, and they just like that one thing at a time approach. So again, book a wee call with me. I just like chatting anyway. Do that if you have time. That would be brilliant. Or secure your slot. Oh, there's some links on there. So I'm going to look at the chat now. I'll leave those up for a minute or two and see if there's any questions I can answer in the chat, which will then be on the recording for anybody on feedback. Then I'll stop the recording, and those here, you can ask me something else as well.